In a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Mexico City, behind tall, iron gates and elegant walls, a dark and tragic affair unfolded. Elena Reyes, a 28-year-old woman, appeared to have everything a person could want: a beautiful home, a devoted husband, and all the material comforts money could buy. But beneath the surface, Elena was a woman deeply dissatisfied with her life. Married to Carlos Reyes, a successful and much older businessman, she lived in a world of luxury. Carlos, who was always busy with his work in construction, rarely spent time with her. As she sat alone in their grand house, surrounded by fine furniture and expensive art, Elena's loneliness became suffocating. Carlos was away on business for long stretches, and the emptiness of their marriage left Elena yearning for something more. She had grown accustomed to being ignored, but what she didn't know was that this void would soon be filled in the most unexpected and dangerous way. It was with Carlos's father, Vincent Reyes, that Elena would find the attention she desperately craved. What began as a casual acquaintance would soon develop into a relationship that would shatter the very foundation of the Reyes family. Vincent Reyes, a man in his late 50s, was the patriarch of the Reyes family. A respected businessman known for his sharp mind and influence in various industries, he was accustomed to power. Vincent had always been a figure in Elena's life. He had often visited the couple, as family gatherings and meetings were a regular part of their lives. But when Carlos was away, Vincent's visits to the house became more frequent, offering Elena companionship and conversation. At first, their relationship seemed innocent. They would talk about business, life, and the world around them. Vincent had a way of making Elena feel important. Unlike Carlos, who was often absorbed in his own work, Vincent would listen to her with intent, offering her advice and making her feel seen and heard. To Elena, this attention was intoxicating. Slowly, their conversations shifted from friendly chats to more personal and intimate exchanges. Vincent made Elena feel like she mattered, and she began to look forward to his visits. As their bond deepened, so did Elena's feelings for Vincent. There was something magnetic about him. He was confident, commanding, and experienced. His compliments were constant, making Elena feel like she was the most important person in his life. He told her she was beautiful, that she deserved more than the life she was living, and most importantly, that Carlos wasn't the man she needed. These words, combined with Vincent's charm and attention, stirred something deep inside Elena. What had started as an innocent friendship quickly turned into something much darker. In the fall of 2012, after months of private meetings, Vincent invited Elena to a secluded estate outside of Mexico City. He promised it would be a weekend getaway, a chance to relax and escape from the pressures of their daily lives. At first, Elena hesitated, unsure whether this was a good idea. But the temptation of Vincent's company proved too strong, and she agreed to go. What followed would change her life forever. That weekend, Vincent and Elena's relationship took a dark and dangerous turn. They spent their days together, talking, laughing, and growing closer. By night, the atmosphere shifted. There were moments of tension, stolen glances, and touches that lingered just a little too long. Vincent began to cross boundaries, slowly pushing Elena into a world she wasn't sure she wanted to be a part of. But at the same time, it felt thrilling, as though she had finally found someone who understood her, someone who truly cared about her. By the end of the weekend, they had crossed the line. What had once been a family relationship was now something else entirely. Elena and Vincent's affair was born, and the consequences of their actions would soon reverberate throughout their lives. Elena, who had spent months in a marriage of convenience, suddenly felt alive again. The attention, the passion, the excitement, it all felt so right. Vincent was no longer just her father-in-law, he was the one person who made her feel wanted and desired. For the first time in years, Elena felt powerful. She felt important. In Vincent, she found a man who was everything Carlos wasn't: sensitive, understanding, and willing to give her the attention she craved. But with this newfound attention came a sense of guilt. Elena knew what they were doing was wrong. She was betraying Carlos, the man she had married, the father of her children. Yet the longer the affair continued, the harder it became to resist. Vincent would send her text messages, calling her beautiful and telling her how much he cared for her. When Carlos was away on business, Elena would spend time with Vincent, sneaking away for brief moments of passion, always careful to keep their affair a secret. By early 2013, Elena's feelings for Vincent had grown more intense. She was no longer the woman she once was. Her thoughts were consumed by him. She spent long hours in her home, staring at the walls, waiting for the next meeting with Vincent. Her marriage to Carlos was now a distant memory, overshadowed by her obsession with his father. The emotional bond between her and Vincent had grown to the point where she could no longer imagine life without him. She wanted more than the occasional rendezvous. She wanted him completely body and soul. As her relationship with Vincent deepened, Elena's mental state began to deteriorate. She started to withdraw from her friends and family. Her once vibrant personality faded into the background. Elena no longer smiled at the dinner table with Carlos. She barely spoke to her friends, who began to notice her withdrawal. Her physical appearance also began to change. The sparkle in her eyes dimmed, and her once flawless skin became pale. But Vincent's hold on her was firm, and she didn't know how to escape. In March 2013, everything changed. Vincent, sensing that their affair was becoming too risky, suddenly suggested that they end things. He told Elena that their secret relationship could no longer continue, that it was too dangerous, and that it could ruin them both. This announcement shocked Elena to her core. The man she had fallen for was now telling her that he no longer wanted her. For Elena, this was the ultimate betrayal. She had given everything to him, her heart, her mind, her body, and now he was pulling away. The hurt, confusion, and desperation that Elena felt quickly turned to rage. The night of March 6, 2013, was the night that Elena's life would change forever. She had planned to confront Vincent. She was determined to make him see that she couldn't live without him. But when she arrived at his estate, everything escalated. An argument broke out, with Elena demanding to know why he was ending their relationship. In the heat of the moment, Vincent tried to push her away, telling her that it was over. But Elena could not accept it. Fueled by a mix of love, anger, and desperation, she grabbed a knife from the kitchen and, in a blind rage, stabbed Vincent multiple times. As the blood pooled around his body, Elena stood over him, breathing heavily, her mind spinning. What had she done? What had driven her to this point? She stared at Vincent's lifeless body in horror, but there was no turning back. Elena had crossed the line. She had killed the man who had once made her feel special, and in doing so, she had destroyed her own life. The police arrived at the scene shortly after the murder. Elena was found in shock, holding the knife, covered in Vincent's blood. There was no question about what had happened, but as the detectives began to investigate further, they uncovered a chilling story. Elena's phone records revealed numerous messages and calls between her and Vincent. It became clear that their relationship had been more than just an affair. It was a dangerous, manipulative bond that had twisted Elena's emotions and clouded her judgment. The media quickly picked up the story, and soon the public was captivated by the shocking tale of Elena's affair and subsequent murder. The once perfect wife had killed her father-in-law. But the story was not as simple as it appeared. Some argued that Elena was the victim of emotional manipulation by Vincent, that she had been coerced into a dangerous and unhealthy relationship. Others saw her as a woman who had chosen to kill to protect herself from the unraveling truth of their affair. The trial that followed was long and intense. Elena's defense team argued that she had been manipulated and controlled by Vincent, that he had used her emotions to keep her in his grasp. They claimed that she had killed him in a moment of emotional collapse, unable to process the years of psychological abuse. The prosecution, on the other hand, painted a different picture. They argued that Elena had killed Vincent out of jealousy, anger, and revenge, knowing that he was going to end their relationship. In the end, Elena was convicted of murder, but the sentencing was not as severe as many expected. The jury found some sympathy for her, recognizing the emotional toll that Vincent had taken on her. While she would serve time for her crime, some believed that she was a woman who had been pushed to the edge, a woman whose emotional fragility had led her down a dark and tragic path. Elena's story became a cautionary tale about the dangers of emotional manipulation, the power of obsession, and the consequences of forbidden love. It was a story of betrayal, love, and loss, a woman who lost everything because of her inability to break free from a toxic relationship that ultimately led to murder.